Samsung.
Jamie Weir, can you hear us?
Hi.
Hey Jamie.
Sorry, I can't.
Recording in progress.
Yeah, kick us off when you're ready, Jamie.
Okay, thanks very much. Good morning, Stuart. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm going to start with the same thing I started with Robin about, and that's I'm sure you haven't sat through the whole 63 minutes of it, but the players will have discussed the Erasmus video. What are the thoughts on it?
Look, I think I know, speaking on behalf of myself and the rest of the boys, we haven't watched it at all. We haven't seen any footage of it. Obviously, it's kind of flying around social media and stuff. But look, we've just been concentrating on ourselves and left him to himself.
But you will obviously be aware of it, and you'll have chatted about it. And you know, rugby prides itself on respect for the referee. When a director of rugby comes out and basically spends an hour lambasting refereeing decisions, it doesn't help the game, does it?
Look, I think you can keep poking the bear, mate. I ain't gonna jump onto this. I think the only thing that I'm focusing on is tomorrow. I know that's not the answer you want. I know it's not the answer that anybody wants. But I have no interest in getting involved in this stuff, mate.
Okay, just one final attempt there, poking the bear. But you know, in terms of the refereeing decisions, are you pretty confident this won't have any impact then tomorrow? That suddenly the Springboks won't start getting some more favourable decisions? That the referees are, professional enough that this will have no bearing?
I think for me, in the short time that I've been Scotland captain, I think Ben O'Keefe's been one of the best referees I've had to deal with, because he almost coaches you around the field at the same time. We ask questions. He's very, very calm in his answers. He's good at communicating, and that's the reason that a large majority of his games, when he's involved, they're allowed to flow. They're allowed to get on with it. And as I say, he helped me massively in the couple of games that we've had him when I've been leading the side. So look, I think, as I say, everybody's entitled to their opinion on referees, but they're the ones that run the game, and for me, they have a huge amount of respect from us as players. I'd hate to do the job, if I'm honest. But as I say, Ben O'Keefe has been one of the best referees that I've had the opportunity to deal with as captain.
Just very finally from me, at the final whistle last week, there was no sort of raising of fists in the air or hugging each other. It was all very much the handshakes. The job is only halfway done. What have the messages been this week, and who have been the most vocal members of the squad in terms of, look, that the first test is done and dusted, that we've still got a job to do here?
Yeah, exactly that. I think, for us, we truly believe we can go out there tomorrow and put on another performance that will hopefully win us a test match series. We are fully aware of the challenges that are going to be coming our way. They're a very highly motivational, emotional side that will come and give absolutely everything and the kitchen sink at us tomorrow. But it's been a great opportunity for us to concentrate on ourselves and just make sure that we get everything right, both sides of the ball. And we enjoy this opportunity. We enjoy this challenge that's going to be coming our way. I couldn't tell you the last time the Lions went 2-0 up in a series. But for us, we need to make sure we get kind of every quarter right in the game, and then we give ourselves every opportunity of winning. But I know I speak on behalf of everybody involved in the Lions camp. We're massively excited for the next couple of days.
I'm fairly sure it was also in South Africa in 1997, the last time the Lions went 2-0 up. But has there been one member of the squad in particular who's given that sort of rousing speech this week that's said to the players, look, we're nearly there, 80 more minutes and we've made history?
For me, I've learned a huge amount about what needs to be said and when it needs to be said. And I think, Alan Wynne, absolute legend of the game, has hit the nail on the head this week with what he's said. And I think somebody that's really, really impressed me over the last few weeks is Owen Farrell. He speaks really, really well. He gives you a huge amount of confidence to go out there and execute your role. And if you don't quite get it right, he's quick to jump on you at that opportunity as well. But he spoke on Tuesday after the session, and not everything was perfect. We had some tricky weather conditions to deal with, but we got out of that session what we needed. It was scrappy at times. We know it's going to be scrappy in the games, But he spoke incredibly well after the game, and I left that training field in a lot better place than what I initially thought. But as I say, I've learnt a huge amount from a lot of boys in this squad, and I'm absolutely loving the opportunity to get better.
Thanks very much, Stuart, and best of luck tomorrow.
Thank you, mate.
Stuart, as a man who's played an awful lot of test match rugby and big games, how are you feeling today, so close to such a significant match?
I think one of the best things is I'm actually sitting down and talking about it, because if not, I'd be sitting in my room kind of don't know what I'd be up to. I'm hugely excited. I think for me, as I said last week, this is the biggest games that I've ever been involved in. You know, I've played a lot of times for Scotland. I've played some big club games, but to be involved in a Lions Test match series is absolutely incredible, and I'm loving every opportunity that I'm getting. But I also understand that I've got a role and a responsibility within this team to execute tomorrow, and that's the kind of pressure that I'm putting on myself to make sure that I perform. And but yeah, mate, I'm hugely excited, and I think for me, the kind of character that I am between now and the game is probably the worst time for me, because I can get too hyper and I can have far too many coffees. But I'll enjoy the build up like everybody else, and I get excited about taking on the Springboks tomorrow.
You spoke earlier in the tour about how not being a Test Lion hurt you. Is it the life of the professional sportsman that you've got to immediately reset that goal to make it being a series-winning Lion?
100%. I think I speak like everybody that's involved in the Lions, everybody that's in tour, everybody that's done all the hard work at home and the build-up for the last 4 years for this goal. Every single person wants to be involved in a winning Test series, and you can see that from everybody. The media, the commercial, everybody, the coaches. We're all here for the same purpose, the same goal, and I'm enjoying each other's company along the way as well. So, look, tomorrow's another opportunity to represent the Lions, another opportunity to take a step closer to where we want to be. And we're going to do everything we possibly can to make sure we achieve our goals.
The ball in playtime last week was actually the lowest on the tour so far. Is that an area that the team are looking at, or is it just naturally Test matches against South Africa are a little bit slower and a bit more precise?
Yeah, look, you can plan for X, Y, and Z in the game, and sometimes it can go completely the opposite direction. I think for us in the first half, we were potentially a little bit ill-disciplined. We gave them, cheap field position, easy points. That's something we've addressed. That's something we've looked at, and that's something hopefully we can be better at tomorrow. But we know fine well what we're going to try and go out there and execute tomorrow. And as I say, we've had a good week's prep. At times it's been challenging. At times it's been far from ideal, far from perfect. But that means we just reset again and almost park it and move on. And I think that's probably the best thing that's happened. Tuesday wasn't quite our best session. Wednesday we had to dwell on it because we were off and recovering. But yesterday we trained a lot better, and today it's just a case of dotting the I's and crossing the T's and making sure that we've done everything we possibly can. But tomorrow hopefully we can execute our game plan for the full 80 minutes, because that's what it's going to need. And that's the challenge. That's the challenge that excites us as players.
From a South African point of view, it felt like Mapimpi and Colby weren't in the game enough last weekend. Are you expecting to see a game plan that involves them more this week?
I think for us, we just need to expect the unexpected. We don't quite know what's going to come, other than a massive aerial threat. I thought they were incredible under the high ball, both in defence and attack last week. But yeah, look, I think when the game opens up, when the game frees up a little bit, you'll see these guys get involved. And there'll be times tomorrow that it will. There'll be times tomorrow that we'll be uncomfortable in defence. But it's how we regain control and be in a position to go after them again. And look, I think if the game does open up a little bit, that's perfect for us as well. We want to be in a position to move these big boys around. We want to be in a position to play in the right areas. And we've got a game plan that excites me as a back three player and excites everybody else. But we know fine well we have to get the fundamentals of the game right and make sure that we're doing the basic things well, and we get some good goal forward. If we get that, then we're on the right track.
Can I just finally ask you what it is about Hogg that's produced 13 Lions and 65 international rugby players from a town of only 15,000 people? How do you explain that?
I'm a very, very passionate Hogg man, and it hurts me when people, talk about things and not in a good light. But I think when you look at it like that, we've done really quite well, haven't we? But at one point, Hogg and the Borders were the heartland of Scottish rugby, and the place means the world to me. So to be involved with one of my best mates in Rory Sutherland, we were brought up together. To be playing for the Lions together is very, very special. But for me, the support that we've had from the townsfolk has been absolutely incredible, and is very, very much appreciated. But look, I think for us in Hogg, hopefully, Suz and I, Lisa Thompson currently playing in the Olympics, another Hogg girl. Hopefully we can inspire the next generation, and that's just the start of what's to come from Hogg people.
Thank you, Stuart.
Thank you.
Stuart, what does Chris Harris bring to the party, and how pleased are you for him to make it?
I'm chuffed to bits for Charis. I think, over the last kind of couple of years, his game has gone through the roof. He's been one of our best players at Scotland. It gives me a huge amount of confidence in the way that he speaks, in the way that he defends, in the way that he wants to get involved. And the best thing about Charis, he doesn't take himself too serious. I just love being in and around his company, and I'm chuffed to bits that he's getting an opportunity tomorrow. I think he's trained incredibly well. He's played really well when he's been given opportunities, and now he gets a chance to show what he's like on the big stage, and I'm hugely excited for him.
Talking about players who don't take themselves too seriously, have you had to put an arm around Finn Russell on this tour as a friend and a Scotland captain, because it's the injury's no helped?
I think he's probably getting sick of me asking how his leg is. I think I asked him maybe 2 or 3 times a day, when he was kind of struggling with his injury, how he was, and I think by the end of it he was almost telling me to go to France. Look, I think he's back round to go, and he's trained incredibly well this week. He's really challenged me as a back 3 player, playing up against him. But look, I've no doubt that he'll continue to work hard and hopefully get an opportunity.
Cheers, Stuart. Good luck.
Thank you.
Hi, Stuart. You spoke before the tour about growing up watching the Living with the Lions video, and how does it now feel to be on the brink of emulating these guys?
I think for me at this present moment in time, I'm just concentrating on making sure that I do my job for the team and be part of a winning test series. I think there's maybe half an hour, 45 minutes after the game last week when we were sitting in the changing room that I could relax and take everything in, and it was really quite a special moment. But it quickly turns to being involved in the next job and making sure that we're prepped in the best way possible. I think there'll be times during the off season that I can reflect and look back on what's happened. But for me right now, I'm concentrating on making sure that I do my part to make sure we're a part of a successful tour.
And having had to isolate earlier in the tour, I mean, does it make you appreciate it that little bit more, just sort of savouring every moment?
100%. I think for me, I always want to make a difference, and to be given an opportunity to represent the Lions means absolutely everything to me, and I'll never ever take anything for granted. I'll continue to work incredibly hard and get the best out of myself on a daily basis, and hopefully that can come out in my performances at the weekend.
Thank you. Cheers.
Stuart, Gavin Merson, Telegraph here. I just wanted to ask a slightly broader question about Warren Gatland. You're one of the few players in the squad who's, for this is their 3rd tour, and I just wanted to see what your thoughts are on what he is like as a Lions coach, what makes him special as a Lions coach. If you were to win the series, there's an argument to be even more famous as Sir Ian McGeechan in terms of his status as a Lions coach. Just be really interested to hear your thoughts on what he's like to sort of be in the squad, and what sort of maybe makes him special as that unique challenge.
I think the thing that I like best about Gats is that you never quite know where you sit with him. He always kind of challenges you on a daily basis. He'll Sometimes you think you're having a very, very good conversation, and all of a sudden you'll challenge you on something. It just makes you, refocus and switch on. But I think he brings the best out in everybody. I think because of the kind of mindset that he's got, every little opportunity that we've got in training, our training sessions have been, between 25 minutes and 50 minutes long. But as long as we're committed for the whole time that we're on the training field, and we make it as intense, as fast, as accurate as we possibly can, he's very, very happy. But yeah, I think to kind of touch on your point, he's been a part of 2 successful Lions tours, 2 winning series, and to be a part of a third would be absolutely incredible for Gats, and he's up there with the best coaches in world rugby, and I think that's the reason that he's the head gaffer of this job and with the Lions. But he's done an incredible job, but I know fine well that he's not finished. He wants to get everything out of everybody to make sure we're successful in the next couple of weeks, and then he can enjoy a glass of red after it and chill out, I reckon.
And just in terms of this trip, it's been obviously unique with all the circumstances with the pandemic. Has it been different? I don't know, because you knew what he's like, were you confident that you'd be able to get through this, even just from a sort of mental health point of view as well as a rugby point of view, to just what has he changed in any way in this trip?
I think he's massive on families, and that's something that means a hell of a lot to me. And obviously leaving my wife and kids and parents and brother back at home is something that I find challenging when you're away. But he's found ways of getting them involved throughout. We've had photos in our rooms, we've had messages on the team selection, we've had just tiny little bits and pieces that he thinks is perfect for the boys, and it makes all the sacrifices that you make through time worthwhile, because he's involving everybody, because he knows fine well that if we were living in a normal world, they'd all be here supporting us. So if you get a happy, healthy human, you get an even better rugby player, and that's something he's massive on, which is very much appreciated from us as players.
Thanks, Stuart.
Hi, Stuart. Yeah, on that note of involving the families and everything, I imagine this has been one of the longer weeks of your Test career, waiting for tomorrow. What have you guys done as a squad to kind of take your mind off the rugby and have a bit of fun and, I don't know, relax a bit more in such a big week?
I think nothing massively has changed over the last few weeks. Obviously, we're staying in a quality hotel. Boys have been out on the golf course, we've been out for walks. There's Elliot Daly and Jamie George making 1 million coffees a day, and there's loads of different bits and pieces around the team room that boys are enjoying each other's company. And for me, the last thing that I want to come and do in a Lions tour is sit in my room and make sure that I'm recovered for a game. I want to be involved in everything with the boys, and we're all about making memories on and off the field. And we've got a very, very good group of boys here, group of players. Everybody involved in the Lions is all bought into what we're about, and there's a huge amount of crack off the field, which again will help us when we play, and hopefully that's shown in our performances.
Thanks very much. Thanks, Will. Thank you very much.
Cheers, guys.
Recording stopped.
Stuart, if you sit tight, because I'm just going to do this one BBC thing.